Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving straight in to dismantle Hollywood's absolute favorite aquatic monster. You know, for decades, pop culture has painted this truly terrifying picture of the ocean's apex predators, basically turning them into mindless, bloodthirsty villains. But today, we're going to look past all that movie magic. We're going to use real science, biology, and physics to uncover the actual truth about sharks. So get ready, because the reality is honestly way more fascinating than any horror movie out there.
It's the ultimate beach day anxiety. I mean, we've all been there, right? You get a tiny paper cut or maybe a little scrape on your knee, and suddenly you're staring out at the ocean waves, seriously wondering if dipping your toe in the water is essentially ringing the dinner bell for every single shark in a 5-mile radius. It's the classic, terrifying question that makes just about everyone hesitate before taking a swim.
You've probably heard or read some version of this exact quote online. It's one of the most stubborn internet myths out there. And, well, like all really great myths, it's incredibly sticky because it cleverly mixes genuine scientific facts with just absolutely wild exaggerations. It sounds just plausible enough to be true, which is why pretty much everyone accepts it as undeniable fact. But today, we're totally breaking it apart.
To understand why that myth is totally bogus, we first need to look at this fundamental contrast. The movie shark, think of Jaws, is always shown as this mindless killing machine that just enters a blind frenzy at the mere hint of blood. But the actual real shark out in our oceans, it's a literal evolutionary marvel. They have survived for hundreds of millions of years precisely because they are highly efficient, deeply calculating predators. They don't do anything blindly. Now, let's validate the tiny little grain of truth at the core of the myth, because sharks genuinely do have an insane sense of smell. Their olfactory bulb takes up a massive portion of their brain. In fact, depending on the species, a shark can detect chemicals diluted down to 1 part per 10 billion. To put that insane number into perspective, if you dropped just a few drops of blood or amino acids into an Olympic-sized swimming pool, a shark could actually detect it.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this is exactly where the myth starts to completely unravel. Sharks don't just blindly smell generic blood. Their noses aren't even used for breathing. They're these independent, highly specialized organs called nares. As water continuously flows through these nares, thousands of cells are essentially running real-time laboratory tests. They're breaking down the amino acids, the protein structures, and the fatty acids. This gives every single species its own unique chemical fingerprint. And thanks to this incredible system, a shark can perfectly, instantly distinguish the blood of a fish or a sea turtle from the blood of a human being.
But what about the whole idea that they can sense a drop from kilometers away in seconds and come rushing in like a guided missile? Yeah, that completely ignores the basic laws of physics. Diffusion, which is the rate at which molecules actually spread in water, is really quite slow compared to how things move in the air. For a scent molecule from a single drop of blood to travel several kilometers, even with the help of strong ocean currents, it would literally take hours, if not days. And by the time it traveled that far, it would be so infinitely diluted, it would fall way, way below even the shark's incredible detection threshold.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how sharks actually react when they do smell blood. Marine biologists have run extensive experiments on this exact thing. When researchers pump fish blood or fish oil into the water, sharks swarm. It triggers this immediate, super strong feeding response. But when they pump land animal or human blood into the water, the sharks show total indifference. They actively ignore it, swim right past it, and honestly, sometimes they even avoid the area entirely. Why? Because to them, it's just a strange, unfamiliar, non-food signal. And this brings us to a really cool foundational rule of nature, the optimal foraging theory. Because of this principle, sharks are actually nature's ultimate picky eaters. Out in the wild, hunting is incredibly expensive. It costs a ton of energy, and failing a hunt is a massive, massive risk. Sharks are masterful energy managers. So even a starving shark calculates its moves. They will absolutely not risk a high-energy pursuit for a strange, unfamiliar chemical signal like human blood. If they chased every random, unknown scent for kilometers, they would have gone extinct millions of years ago from pure energy depletion alone. So looking at how this builds our understanding of their diet, it becomes pretty obvious why humans are simply not on the menu. First off, there are over 500 species of sharks globally, everything from tiny little dogfish to giant plankton-eating whale sharks. Only a super tiny handful, like the great white, tiger, and bull sharks, even have the physical capability to pose a threat. But more importantly, humans have just never been part of their evolutionary diet. We are way too bony, and we have far too little fat. To a shark that's out there looking for a nice calorie-dense seal, a human is basically unappealing, low-energy junk food. So the crucial point here is, if we aren't food, why on earth do shark attacks happen at all? Well, it almost always comes down to two really tragic accidents. First is the test bite. Sharks don't have hands, right? So when they encounter a strange, new object in their environment, they explore it using their mouths. A gentle, curious little nibble from a massive shark is unfortunately devastating to a fragile human body. Second is visual misidentification. If you look straight up from the bottom of the ocean, a surfer paddling on a board bears a really striking silhouette resemblance to a seal or a sea turtle. The shark attacks, but in almost all these cases, they literally spit the human right back out the second they realize it's not their usual blubbery prey.
And the statistics absolutely back this up. According to global records, unprovoked shark encounters only result in about 5 to 10 tragic deaths per year, worldwide. To put that into perspective for you, you are statistically far more likely to be killed by a lightning strike, a vending machine tipping over on you, or even a coconut dropping on your head at the beach. To a shark, we aren't prey. We're just strange, bad-tasting aliens that they occasionally bump into by accident.
So, the Hollywood myth? Totally busted. Sharks are definitely not coming for your paper cut, and you can breathe a massive sigh of relief. But, actually, I have to pivot pretty sharply right here. You still should absolutely not go swimming in the ocean if you have an open wound. Your fear of bleeding in the water is actually highly justified. It's just that you've been looking at the completely wrong enemy this whole time.
Seriously, forget the apex predators for a second. The true hidden threat in the ocean is completely invisible to the naked eye. Enter Vibrio vulnificus. This is a highly dangerous marine bacteria that just naturally lives in seawater. If you have a weakened immune system, or if you wade into the ocean with an open cut, this microscopic menace can enter your bloodstream. It causes devastating tissue damage and can lead to rapid, fatal sepsis. Statistically speaking, this bacteria is massively more likely to put your life in real danger than any shark ever could.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate conclusion drawn by marine experts. The real scientific warning here isn't to frantically scan the horizon for dorsal fins. It's to practice basic hygiene and proper wound care. Going into the ocean with an open wound isn't an invitation for jaws. It's an open door for a severe bacterial infection. We have spent decades being utterly terrified of the wrong thing, manipulated by movie marketing rather than actually listening to marine biology. Sharks really are not our enemies, guys. They are incredibly sophisticated, highly selective predators that keep our ocean ecosystems healthy and completely balanced. They deserve our profound respect, not our blind terror. So I'll leave you with this thought. The next time you step into the ocean, will you be looking out for giant fins, or will you be protecting yourself from something much, much smaller? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the myths around you.